The first question is that they've told you to draw in your book that the length of the shadow is 6 meters, and they wanted you to draw as one, and it's a flagpole. You know it's a flagpole question. They wanted you to make 1 centimeter equal to 1 meter. So you should draw a horizontal line, which is the shadow, of 6 centimeters in your book. But then they've also told you that the angle of the shadow here, up to the top of the flagpole, is 60 degrees. So you get your protractor and you mark where 60 degrees is. Okay? And then this is going to be what the angle, this is going to form a triangle, the flagpole, the shadow. This angle here is the one we call the hypotenuse. The longest line of a triangle is always called the hypotenuse. Okay? So we know that this angle is now 60 degrees. And the question is, how high is the flagpole? Well, we can actually measure it in our books because we know that this angle is 60 degrees. We know that the flagpole is not going to be wonky. So we know another angle, another important angle here. We know that here, the flagpole is straight up, so it has a special 90-degree angle. So we know that the flagpole is going to have a 90-degree angle. So we can just actually draw from the end of the from the beginning of the shadow up to, it doesn't look very 90 degrees, did I? Need my glasses. Up to, yeah, it's 90 degrees. So from this end, beginning of the shadow here, up to, I've got it in there, I'm looking at the wrong point. There's the 90-degree point, up there. Now we have a 90-degree angle because we know our flagpole is straight. Here's our flag on the top. And if I'd like to know how high this flagpole is, I can now just measure with my ruler because I know that 1 centimeter in your book is equivalent to the 1 meter length of the flagpole. If it's 1 centimeter is 1 meter for the shadow, it's exactly the same for the flagpole too, that 1 centimeter is equal to. So I can measure here. I've done 2 centimeters here to make it a little bit easier. 10, 20. So we have 20 centimeters, which is equivalent to 10 meters because I did 2 centimeters. To make it a little bit bigger for the video, okay? So that we can then measure the length of the flagpole. Is 10 meters. What would the scale be? Is the scale 10 meters? We actually had 10 centimeters. In our book, that was 10 centimeters. In reality, it was 10 meters. How do I compare those two? Well, I have to think of what 10 meters is in centimeters. In order to compare them, I actually have to have them in the same unit. 10 meters is the same as 1,000 centimeters. So the scale that I've drawn this flagpole in is 10 centimeters in my book is actually equivalent to 1,000 centimeters in reality. Should I leave it like that? No, because I can simplify this by dividing both of these by 10. So the scale that I've written to, if I divide this one by 10 and I divide this one by 10. We always want whole numbers when it comes to scale. So the scale that I've drawn this flagpole to is 1 to 100, or the scale that you've drawn it to. Because you should have written 10 centimeters in your book is equivalent to 10 meters. Okay? 1 centimeter is equivalent to 1 meter. So, that's how we would write that one, the first one. But then it said, what would the length of the shadow be when the angle is 45 degrees without a calculation? And there's something very special about a 45-degree angle. If we have a 90-degree angle here, this means that this angle here will be 45 degrees, and this angle here. If this one is 45 degrees, then that one is also 45 degrees. And what does it tell you about a triangle that has 2 angles that are identical? When 2 angles are identical, the lengths of the meeting sides of the triangle will always be the same length. Always. So if you have two angles that are the same, here it's 45, 45, these lengths will be the same. So if you know that the flagpole is 10 meters, you must know, because these angles are identical, that the length of the shadow is going to be 10 meters. And that's a very special thing when you have two angles. If I'd drawn an angle, a triangle like this, where this angle had been 70 degrees and this angle had been 70 degrees, and I tell you that the length of this side is 12 centimeters, at the same time I'm telling you that the length of this side is 12 centimeters. Because when these angles are identical, the sides that are meeting from those two angles are always identical in length as well. But only when the angles are identical. So for the 45-degree one, you didn't need to do any calculation. You already knew that the length of the flagpole was 10 meters. So therefore the length of the shadow when it's 45 degrees must also be 10 meters. Do you understand? Yeah? Good.